What is the most successful communication tool with your loved one? Friends, I'm Kris Krohn, Limitless TV, and today we are going to be discussing that very thing, and I'm going to share with you some of the best advice I've received in my degree from college in marriage, family, human development on how to communicate like a rock star with your loved ones. I do have some advice today on how to talk with your spouse because I've spent a number of years learning kind of from School of Hard Knocks how to not communicate with your spouse. When my wife and I first got married, I think our love story probably feels a lot like maybe yours did. I mean, we were so into each other, totally in love. We tied the knot, got hitched, and I started finding after a short period of time that while we went into our marriage with our eyes half opened, they became fully opened on the other side of on the line when we got married. And I found that I was wanting things for my wife. I was having expectations for my wife, and we developed some unhealthy communication patterns because we communicated differently. If I said something she didn't like or she didn't like how I was talking with her, she would shut down. That pattern would get me upset. Then I would say whatever I was saying louder, and I would exaggerate what already wasn't working. And then my wife would walk out or just turn over or fall asleep. And so we've had our experiences with what doesn't work, and what I want to do today is I want to share with you how brilliant marriage can be when you use a different talking pattern. There's 3 specific steps that I want to share with you that my wife and I have been using now for the last decade, and it's led to some of the most amazing conversations and results and outcomes because there's a different level of respect and pattern of how we communicate with each other. So here's the 3 steps. Anytime you're communicating with, whether it's a loved one, a business partner, this advice goes for anyone on the planet. The first of the 3 steps is to acknowledge them. That means they just finished saying something. So if you don't acknowledge them, what you're communicating is that what you have to say is more important than what they have to say. So start with, thank you for sharing that opinion, or acknowledge whatever you can do authentically and honestly. After you acknowledge them, the second thing is to repeat back what you think you heard. Not what you know you heard, what you think you heard. Remember, if men are from Mars and women are from Venus, then just about every person on the planet really has a different perception of their world. So why don't you share back, and here's what it's going to sound like. What I thought I heard you say was this, is that right? And what you're doing is you're getting some clarification because you might be surprised how often your loved one comes back and says, no, that's kind of what I'm saying, but actually I'm saying this. And we're like, wow, glad we cleared up that perception. So I'm going to acknowledge them. I'm going to repeat what I heard back and make sure that I have an accurate as possible understanding of what they're communicating. And then number 3, I'm going to build on that conversation. I'm going to add to that conversation. Acknowledging, repeating, and building. Those are the 3 steps that we're talking about in having rock star communication with anyone on the planet. You know how amazing it is to be able to acknowledge people? Their favorite word in the human language is their own name. Shauna, thanks for sharing that with me. Nate, thanks for sharing that with me. James, I appreciate that point of view. Step 2, let me make sure I heard you correctly, or I want to make sure and see if I understood this correctly. What I heard you say was, and then in your own words, repeat back, make sure that you really are on the same page. And then once you've done that, and they acknowledge that, yes, in fact, we are understanding each other, or they've helped correct some of your thinking, the 3rd step is, all right, let me share some of the ideas that I've been having and see if any of those will work for you too. I want to invite you to practice this today. In fact, start a conversation with the very next person you meet and get their opinion on something. And then acknowledge them, repeat back and confirm what you think you heard. And then the 3rd step is then add your own opinion, add your own thoughts. This format of communication has been magic for me and my wife. It's gotten us on the same sheet of music, and you can have that with any person you meet when you use these awesome, effective, simple communication skills. Thank you for watching today's video here with Limitless TV. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And other than that, next week when we get together, I'm going to be jumping back in the real estate conversation and talking about how you acquire very large, huge multi-family homes.